Again, now let's look at adding more detail to the lips here. You can see that we made the meeting line of the lips. Of course, my lips aren't meeting, so they're not that close together, but yours should be. One thing I'll point out is that when I did this illustration, I didn't really match up my lips together too well. You can see that I've got this distinctive shape in the lips here, but I didn't really draw that in the side view. So I'm having a little bit of a hard time matching them up. So you can see in my side view, it's not really matching my mouth shape that much. So I'm winging it a little bit, and you may find that you have to do the same. But so let's say we've established the meeting line here, and we've got the corner of the mouth a little bit. We've got to add some more detail in here to resolve the major plane of the lips here. So let's go in and add an edge loop. Exit, edit mesh, insert edge loop. So let's put it in the middle here. And now we'll just start moving these points in. So you can see I'm going to the top edge here, moving these into place. Now, let me just do the bottom here. Move this up. So I'm just working in one view right now. I'm going to go into the front view and make sure everything is kosher. And match this up. And match these a little bit. So I want to try and get this up and down shape in here. So I may do this a little bit. Try and capture that early. We can resolve it more as we add more detail. Now, I want to look at the corner of the mouth. If you look at the corner of somebody's mouth, usually what happens, the upper part of the lip comes down and turns into sort of a fold over the corner of the mouth. Now, I'm doing a pretty young person, so it's not that obvious. I don't want to exaggerate it too much. But in an older person, this becomes more pronounced, just like the nasolabial fold here will become more pronounced. But we want to make sure we put in the detail early to capture this sort of this line here, this fold of lip, fold of flesh over the corner of the mouth. So I can do that. So here's the corner of the mouth resolved here. Now here's the next line of vertices. I'm going to take this and put it over here. Now it's way out of whack in the side view. And my lip illustrations line up pretty well over here, so that's good. And I can take this next point. Now this is it. I admit it becomes easy to get lost at this point when you get lots of overlying points. So you just have to take care, think about what you're doing. Move this in. Move this point in here. Oh, I forgot to move it in there. This is too far. So I want to pull that out a little bit. So we're starting to get that little fold there. Now there's not enough resolution in this to really achieve it yet, but we're starting to work in the detail there a little bit. You can kind of see what's happening. Here, there's the corner of the mouth in there. And this next row of vertices I'm kind of swooping along to help build out that corner. So you can see that the lower lip is kind of higher up here, so we're doing that. The upper lip goes like this. So you can see how it gets complicated here in the corner of the mouth, but we'll just try and refine it slowly as we move along so we don't run into any big problems. So that's pretty good. You can see that I've got the major plane of the lips there. But we don't have any volume to the lips yet if we look in the side view. We don't have any of this volume, so we can insert a new edge loop inside the lip. I think that was my last tool, so I can hit Y again and just put it inside the lip here, the transitional zone of the lip. You go to vertex mode and start building out the volume. Now this is, I'm roughing this in this low res mode, and you'll find that if you go into the smooth mode, you really have to exaggerate things to get this kind of bulging. It's looking pretty good. Maybe pull this down to show that the lips are tending down this way. Oops, it's too. See, here's where my drawings don't match up and I run into a little bit of trouble. So when you're working on your lips, now you're working on a man, so you don't want to hyper feminize the lips, although everybody has the same lips structure. Um, you just want to make sure you're working in this general structure of the up and down of the top of the transitional zone here, and then the downward, then up, and then down, and then this kind of higher position of the lateral part of the lower lip, then down to sort of a lower part in the middle. Oops. So something like that. So you can see in the rough mode, I've got pretty good lips. I feel like everything is kind of flat in here. This maybe has to come out a little bit. If I go into 3 mode, so you can see it, yeah, it's kind of starting to come together. But I still don't really have quite enough definition when it's smoothed out. It's too gradual. So I'm going to add in some more detail. I'm going to add in 2 edge loops. Again, I hit Y because edge loop is the only tool I'm using right now. When you're moving stuff around, that's not a tool, that's just translating things. So there's 1 edge loop. And I'm going to do a nice, really tight one in here because the lip has a lip, sort of this kind of extra little edge. If you look at some photos, most lips you'll see have this extra little edge that we want to define. So adding in that detail, hey, hey. It adds a bit of a tighter edge here, which is what we want. But I'm going to go in and move those points around. So you can see adding that extra resolution allows us to more closely approximate this area here. I'm going to make sure that all this stuff is sort of working. See, this point is too far forward. So as I'm working, I want to make sure that I'm defining this region well between the nose and the lips. I'm looking down here to make sure everything is coming along. Maybe that can come down a little bit. Now the structure under the lips here, or the lower lip, the structure of the lower lip is quite complex, and you'll have to look at some references when you're doing this, but there's this plane here that tends to bulge out a little bit, so I'm going to move that out a tiny bit. And this area kind of tends to become just the transitional zone merges into the non-colored part of the lower lip here. So I'm trying to work in those planes of the face there a little bit. That's pretty good. So that's coming along nicely. Now you can see that I need to maybe exaggerate this a little bit when I'm in the high res mode. So working in high res mode, I can See, when you select a point in high res mode, it actually indicates where the low res point here is. So it's slightly offset, so you just grab that. And I want to exaggerate the structure of the lip a little bit here. And by moving these points up closer to this tight line, I'll get more of a hard edge on the lips. Maybe move this in a little bit. The lower lip kind of tends to roll in under the upper lip. So move that. So pulling these 2 points down over this line, I'll get more of the chin, the fold under the lower lip. So if I look here, I can grab these 2 points and move them in, and I get more of that fold, and then pull these 2 points out to sort of exaggerate it. So you can see what I'm getting there. That looks nice, if I do say so myself. I still think I'm kind of flat in here. I'm gonna have to work on that. I feel like the face is going down too quickly, so I'm gonna start pulling out these points a little bit. Now I want to avoid making weird bulges, but maybe this one, if we look in here, this one has to come forward a bit to, yeah, getting that shape a little better and avoiding that kind of weird flattening, and maybe these need to come forward a little bit. You just have to keep looking at it and see what looks weird and what looks right. But of course, right doesn't mean attractive, it just means structurally sound. That looks pretty good.